Can you trust wearable devices for weight loss? The truth about calorie tracking. Today we're tackling a popular topic in the fitness and health tech world, wearable devices. Are these gadgets really helping us track our calorie burn accurately, or are they just misleading us? Are you misleading me, iWatch? Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel where I break down complex medical concepts and make them easy to understand so you can make better informed medical decisions for yourself and for your family. My name is Dr. G, and I'm an internal medicine physician in Hollywood, Florida. I'm also your go-to expert on healthy lifestyle modifications and patient education through evidence-based information. Wearables like smartwatches, the smartwatches like the iWatch I have on right now, or the Fitbit you may have on your dresser right there, and other fitness bands have transformed how we monitor our health metrics. They offer tons of data. They can count your steps, heart rate, sleep quality, and calorie burn. And there are ways to share with friends and family for healthy competitions or to allow your doctors access to perform remote monitoring. All these things are super amazing, and no one loves health tech more than me. But are all these numbers accurate? I mean, really accurate. Accurate enough to make complicated healthcare decisions. That's exactly what recent research has been digging into, and some of the findings might surprise you, especially when it comes to tracking calories for weight loss. Many people rely on these devices to guide their weight loss journeys, but when calorie burn is miscalculated, it affects our goals. If the device overestimates the calories burned, we might actually eat more than necessary, and that undermines our weight loss. And if it underestimates, we might undereat, potentially slowing down metabolism. So let's start with describing wearable devices and getting a general idea of how they work. Wearable devices collect information like heart rate, energy expenditure, and other health data in numbers through a combination of sensors, algorithms, and connectivity features. One thing that wearables are really good at, generally, is heart rate monitoring. And this is through a technology called photoplethysmography. That's a mouthful, and trust me, it wasn't easy to do that. And I'm gonna mess that up next time. So from here on out, we will call it by its street name, PPG. Most wearables use PPG sensors, which consist of LEDs that emit light onto the skin and usually on the wrist. As blood flows through the veins, it absorbs a certain amount of light, and the sensors detect the amount reflected back. And algorithms then process this data to calculate the heart rate. This presents possible issues here with the skin tone, because different colored skin absorb light differently and presents possible error and variability of measurements from person to person. Some wearables also include ECG sensors that measure the heart's electrical activity, and this offers more precise data and potentially detecting irregular heart rhythms. If you've ever had an ECG done or noticed on your favorite soap operas, usually there are a bunch of wires all over the place when on the patient's being tested. They get it all tangled up. I'm telling you, you don't want to untangle the EKG wire. Anyway, the more points of contact, the more information, and if done correctly, the more accurate the ECG results. This type of setup usually would be impractical for a wearable device while you're doing exercise out and about. Another place for variability of results and errors. And now for energy expenditure. You're about to notice that this is where it really gets complicated, because energy expenditure is not just what your body is doing, it's also about how your body is moving, and it's using energy during exercise and at rest. The wearables attempt to act as accelerometers. In this way, these sensors detect movement, helping estimate steps, distance, and general activity levels. Combined with data on weight, age, and gender, the devices can approximate calories burned. They attempt to measure heart rate variability. Changes in heart rate patterns during activity and rest are used to estimate exertion levels, which play on a role in calculating energy expenditure. Finally, the big dog in the room are metabolic equivalents, or METs. Wearables use MET values by using estimates of energy expenditures for various activity intensities, integrated with the sensor data to estimate caloric burn through the sensing. So to complete the review of wearables, there are some additional sensors that end up completing the data collected and making the information more accurate. One of those things is gyroscopes, which measure orientation and rotational movement, allowing the device to understand complex activities like cycling and swimming or strength training. There are barometers on some of these things, and they're used to detect changes in altitude, which can impact calorie burn calculations, especially in activities like hiking or climbing stairs. And finally, some advanced devices may actually have skin temperature or sweat sensors to gauge activity intensity and stress levels. Let's get into how the data gets processed and connectivity. Wearables process raw sensor data through algorithms tailored to each user's body metrics and activity patterns. They can use Bluetooth, they can use Wi-Fi or cellular networks to sync with apps where users can see reports and they can trends and insights and even share with others, which we'll talk a little bit more about later. Many wearables now use AI and machine learning to improve accuracy by recognizing individual habits and physiological patterns, making personalized recommendations over time. AI is everywhere. Overall, the combination of hardware sensors, software data processing algorithms, and connectivity enables the wearables to provide real-time feedback and valuable health insights to the users. And the issue at this point is the accuracy. That's the real problem with these things. So let's talk about some studies that show how different devices can yield wildly different numbers, especially for calorie burn. Let's first address the well-known study from Stanford University comparing 7 popular devices and found that none were 100% accurate. The devices had an error rate of 27% to 93% for calorie burn. Anything that's wrong 93% of the time should be in politics, not in medicine. Even worse, the most accurate devices had the highest variability during high-intensity exercise, where it really matters the most. Device error was higher for males, greater body mass index, darker skin tone, and walking. And no device achieved an error of less than 20% when calculating energy expenditure. The Apple iWatch achieved the lowest overall error in both heart rate and energy expenditure, while the Samsung Gear S2 reported the highest in both categories. In conclusion, most of us wear these devices and we use them on a daily basis. And we're okay at heart rate measurements, but they're very bad at energy expenditure estimation, which is one of the features many people use the watches for during exercise and make decisions based off the numbers they see. Another study, the University of Wisconsin-Madison expanded on this by testing the accuracy of wearables across multiple exercises like walking versus running and cycling. The researchers found an error rates of around 15 to 40% for calorie expenditure, depending on the activity. Cycling in particular was way off the mark because wearables struggle to estimate calories accurately without upper body movement. This presents a new problem with the wearables in that exercise which isolate one part of the body from another part of the body increases variability of energy expenditure readings. Here's another study from a place in England where the hard name, Aberystwyth University, assessed the consistency of devices across different skin tones and body types. And the research showed that people with darker skin tones or larger body types experience even greater inaccuracies in calorie tracking. This indicates potential biases in the algorithms many devices use. If you haven't noticed from walking around, we are not all the same in skin tone. Given the way these devices work, this produces an obvious opportunity for error and bias that has been noted in other studies looking at common measurements such as oxygen saturation in the blood, which was a huge deal during COVID. When I was in a hospital doing rounds on COVID patients, darker tone patients routinely would come back with numbers that were completely and obviously not in line with the patients sitting in front of me, which made for a funny story once I have about interrupting an ER doctor as he was getting ready to needlessly intubate a patient who obviously didn't need it because the O2 saturation was too low. But that's a story for another day over a smoked old fashioned, and just meet me there. Anyhow. Number 4, the American Heart Association Scientific Sessions in 2022 also, the researchers presented a meta-analysis of 22 separate studies, and they found that the heart rate tracking in wearables overall was generally accurate within 5%, but calorie burn estimates had up to a 50% error rate. The conclusion? Heart rate accuracy doesn't mean calorie burn will be accurate as well. Whatever the reason for this disconnect, this should give both clinicians and patients or end users pause before making broad changing decisions based solely on the information from a wearable device. Lastly, and probably most fittingly, in the International Journal of Obesity in 2023, A study in that journal reviewed fitness trackers with a specific focus on weight loss programs. They found that despite technological improvements, calorie burn estimates were often inflated by 10 to 20% during daily activities, meaning users burned fewer calories than they expected or than they thought they did by looking at their watch. This has been one of the biggest points of contention in my office when patients come in showing me their numbers and showing that they have reached their calorie burn goals on a consistent basis for the last month or the last week, but have not lost their weight they expect. Obviously, there's a problem here, and it's not the patient. It's the measurements of calorie burn are grossly overstated, making them feel as if they are actually doing enough work when in reality they aren't. And this leads to quite a bit of frustration on the patient part and feelings of hopelessness when the numbers show they should be losing weight and they're not. So this brings up a very, obvious next question. Why are these numbers so off? Well, wearables typically calculate calories based on heart rate, body metrics, and general activity algorithms. But this doesn't take into account individual metabolic differences, body composition, effort, skin tone, or factors like muscle mass versus fat mass. So for instance, someone with higher muscle mass will burn more calories with the device than the device might predict. So should you still use wearables? The question is, so should we all just throw our wearables away? Not necessarily. Despite inaccuracies, wearables can still be great for overall lifestyle habits. They can track your steps, monitor your heart rate trends, so setting reminders to move are all beneficial. The key is to use them as a guide, not an exact measurement tool. So here are a few tips for getting the most out of your wearable. Number 1, don't over-rely on calorie burn estimates. Number 2, look for trends in your activity rather than focusing on exact numbers. And number 3, if weight loss is your goal, focus more on mindful eating, nutrition, and exercise consistency. So to wrap it up, wearables are useful, but when it comes to calorie counting, take it with a grain of salt. Use these tools to support your health journey, but remember, they're not perfect. And I've included links to the studies I've mentioned in the description below if you want to dive a little bit deeper. And if you are interested in a more precise tool to measure your energy expenditure, that would be an MET calculator. Quick secret, we're working on something. Check out the link in the description below where you can get 48-hour access into our lifestyle modification community where we have more than 20 members already who are enjoying direct access with myself and my lifestyle coaches. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and comment if you found this video helpful. So until the next video, stay healthy, stay informed, and I will see you soon.